started. Um, Again, my name is Suri Deitch, and I'm the Dean of SOPA, School of Professional Advancement at Tulane. That's me there over on your left of your screen. And I'm really happy to be joined today by Bo Boudreau, who is a faculty member at SOPA and at Tulane generally, in English composition, actually an award-winning faculty member, teaching our students, and a published poet, and someone with a PhD in English. So a good person to talk to about writing. And we're here as part of a series that the School of Professional Advancement is running right now called Get Set for Success. You may have been in the session last week, the kickoff session, which was called My Personal Journey to Pay for College. And we have 4 more sessions, I think, coming up after this one. And we really appreciate you being here. We are recording the session, which you can see in your upper left-hand corner, so that we can share it with others who weren't able to come today, and maybe use some of the presentation in other ways. The best way to communicate with us during the session is in the chat box at the bottom of the screen. And probably everyone is a Zoom expert at this point. But just to say, that's the good way to ask us questions. And you're welcome to do that at any point. And then we'll talk at the end about how to get in touch with us after the session if you want to do that. So, so the first thing I want to do actually is ask Bo to make a few comments about what are some of the things we hear. What are some of the things that you hear, Bo, about the challenges of going back to school and writing in particular from the students who you teach at Tulane?
I would say the first thing that the students look at with the syllabus is they're a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of writing that is required for the course. And right away, we have a dialogue, or the professor or I would talk to the students to pacify some of those worries about the overwhelming amount of writing you have to do. It's really not a terrible amount of writing.
Okay, thanks. And actually, if we move on to the next slide after the speaker slide, thanks. Our colleague Ann Conlon is running the slides for us today. And actually, if you don't know, you have different ways that you can look at the screen in Zoom, but she's sharing her screen. So we're both really positive about writing. We know it's an area that people frequently do have anxiety about, and so we wanted to talk about some of the positive things that we see, and then talk a little bit more in particular about English composition. So one thing that I know Bo always starts with, and that I always want to start with as someone supporting students, is to say that you're coming to this already having developed certain skills in communications and in writing. And the fact is that we want to help you to improve your writing skills. And everyone, no matter what stage they're at in their career, no matter how much they write, everyone's writing can always get better. And that's a really great thing about launching into doing academic writing in college. So not only are you coming with skills that you already have, but your faculty want to support you and help you to get better and help you to build your skills over time. Your peers want to help you, right? People who are in the same boat that you're in, and that's a really That's also a really great thing about writing courses and writing intensive courses at the college level, that you can have that experience of learning from your peers. And the fact is that writing is a foundational skill in college. I would also argue that it's a foundational skill in life. And learning to write well is a process and has a structure and a cycle, so that you're constantly, not only are you doing the writing, but you are editing yourself, you're looking at other people's work, and you can get better and better and better. We so we see it as a cyclical thing and iterative, which means that it goes over the same ground and improves in quality all the time. In the next slide, Bo is going to talk some about the course that he teaches at Tulane, which is called English 1010.
That's right. So English 1010, just to echo a bit of what Surya was saying, is that this class is a foundation for you to branch out for what your major is going to be, and it's an important class to take in that sense. And what we do on day one is to get the idea of providing a model. A model essay that we write, and it's very it has building blocks that open up where the opening paragraph is a reflection of the entire paper. So once you can do that first hurdle of writing that first paragraph, then you have the map for the rest of the paper. One of the first things that I talk about in the first class is this word called thesis, which technically is a theory that's put forward as a premise. And when an author, when you read an article, often their thesis is the roadmap for their essay. So what we're going to be doing in English 1010 is reading a lot of articles, and also looking to identify their thesis, and then developing that opening paragraph by identifying the thesis of the articles, and then at the end of that opening paragraph, having your own thesis of your own for an opinion that comes towards the later part of the paper. Other things that we touch upon is that we do have to do articles of interest that are often have opposite viewpoints. And we're doing that work, and we're also looking for not only to find the thesis of the articles, but to also find support. What are the supporting elements of these articles that lend to their thesis of why they are writing? And finally, a big portion of the course is revising. You don't have one draft. Your peers will see your draft. There'll be a dialogue about the theses of the articles. And primarily what we'll get to is an actual class where you have a rough draft class where we share essays and go over that process before you turn in that initial essay for the class.
Great. Thanks, Bo. And just as a reminder, we're happy to take questions in a chat at the bottom of the screen at any point. It's a little weird to talk about writing without actually doing it. That's one of the great things about writing, is that you have to do it to get better at it. And so talking about it in the abstract is a little bit odd. But I think that the example of English 1010 and how Bo teaches it, and the process that he goes through with students and that students go through with one another is really important. And like we've said, is really foundational. So in the next slide, we want to talk a little bit about, like, having said how important it is and what the process is in English 1010, how do you actually do it? How do you actually get better at writing? And so Bo's going to talk some about the how, and then I'm going to talk a little bit about the why.
Okay. What we, the class is a dialogue, and it's an academic discussion. So you're able to not only bring in your own ideas, but you're also getting to hear your peers for what they have to say. This generates your own thesis for your papers, and also could lend for support for other aspects of the essay that you're writing. So everyone gets to hear what you're writing about. It's a very open atmosphere, and what we're trying to do is we're trying to read a lot, to locate the thesis of the articles and provide support for that thesis, and then the writing and your own thesis is intertwined to that at the end, and then a conclusion, and that is the end of your essay.
And when we talk about writing, we also need to talk about reading. And so another important component of how you become better as a writer is to read. Reading articles, reading books, and then what we call time on task. So the more you write, the better you write is generally the rule. There's really no way to improve your writing without taking the time to do it. But one of the great things about that is that having improved your writing and having gained the skills, you have them for the rest of your life. You have them for work, you have them for your career. For those of you who might have seen the session that we had last week with Derek Houston and Kenley Fight, our students, Derek talked in particular, Derek works in finance, and he talked in particular about how college level thinking and writing helped him to become better and more effective at work, to think with more precision and rigor, and to communicate more effectively with his colleagues and with people who work for him. And that alone was one of the great benefits of going back to school, in a very concrete way in which he was able to bring what he was learning in school back to the workplace. Communicating effectively and efficiently, right? It's not just about, well, it's not in no way about the amount of text that comes out when you write. It's about how you use it, and how you actually sometimes want to say less or use fewer words, and actually writing something shorter can be more difficult than writing something longer, because it takes more work to be precise. And we think that all these things, or we know that all these things have a great deal of benefit, not just at school, but everywhere. One of the things that I really love about writing is how it forces you to be concrete and specific. And so you can talk about something at work or in school, or even at home, however much you want. And in a lot of instances, until you actually put it down on paper, you can't really analyze it and figure out in very specific terms what you're talking about. So that is actually the end of our presentation. And you can see when we change the slide, this last slide gives you an email address to contact us at, and a phone number. Although no one's actually answering the phone, we listen to the messages and we return calls. And then all of our Facebook and Instagram and Twitter and LinkedIn, all of our social media handles. So I see Jessica put in a comment about how great last week's session was. It was really fabulous, and it's available actually. It's available on YouTube, and we can send it. You can send you a link. I'm wondering if anyone has any other comments or questions that they want to make. So I think the big thing that Bo and I both want to end with is to say, number one, it's really important. College level writing is really important and foundational. Number two, you can do it. And whatever point you're at in your writing, it can get better. And going to school is one of the ways that you do that. And third of all, that we hope you'll join us. I see a question from Ingrid about tutors. So we do make tutoring available for our undergraduates and graduate students at Tulane. There is a tutoring center, and actually they do in person, although not at the moment, and they do a lot of tutoring online. And writing is actually a really great area of study to be able to work at online, because you can work with instructors and tutors who are helping you to edit your own work and who are editing your work for you. So that is one of the services that we offer at Tulane, and it's clearly very important. Let's see, I'm just seeing if there are any other questions. So the last thing I'll say, and then we'll see if Bo has anything that he wants to finish with, is that everyone's work can be edited effectively, and that all of us, me included, and I think probably Bo included, benefit from having our work edited, and that is part of the process of improving writing, so that you expose your writing to other people, and you hear what they have to say about it, and a lot of times that actually helps you to get better at it. Bo, is there anything else that you want to say as a last?
Well, I would find every student that takes 1010 gets better over the course of the semester, from writing the first essay and improvement to the second essay to the third. And then you get this opportunity to do some creative writing, at least in my class, and also you get to read a novel and write a final essay on that novel. And I think that's it's a great class to walk away from, where you've got a lot of ammunition going forward through other classes at Tulane.
Thanks so much. Well, Bo, thanks for presenting with me today. Like I said to everyone, you are an award-winning professor, and we're so grateful to have you and the great care that you give to teaching students how to write. We really appreciate all of you joining us today for this session. I hope you'll check out other sessions in this series. And if you're here because you're thinking about going back to school, we very much hope you will do that too. And we hope you'll consider doing it at the School of Professional Advancement, which is a school that is largely focused on people who are going back to school, sometimes after many years, and where we're really good at supporting students and creating an environment for you where you can be successful academically, and then that helps you be successful in everything else. So thanks again for your time today. We really appreciate it. Stay well, be safe. We always say that these days, right? And we will see you soon at SOPA. Have a good afternoon.